now let's get started some of the teams. So I'd like to ask the team called WhatsApp to come and present their solution, please.
Right, so we designed an alert system, and it was called the Alert Project, and it alerts people of the events that happen in the sky. And I'm going to talk about why we chose this project, and then my team members will talk about the different aspects of this project. So the reason why we chose this project was because initially we met and we saw a plethora of projects in front of us, and we were quite confused about what we should do. And then we realized that as soon as we read this, it struck a chord. Like, we were just like, oh my god, this happens to us all the time. We read about it after the event has happened, and it just seemed like we could connect with it. And we then narrowed down into different other projects and looked at bigger problems that we could have solved. And then we realized that this is a considerably small problem, but it has a huge impact in terms of society, in terms of people who are wanting to know about events but just do not have the right kind of resources to find information about the events that will take place in the future. And so we decided to do this project. And the approach that we followed was to appeal to the masses, was to appeal to children, was to appeal to adults, was to appeal to people who had a good amount of knowledge or those who didn't. So it was to cater to everybody's needs, and we followed a simplistic approach, and we've tried to connect with everybody. And my colleagues will now take over.
Hi, I am going to kind of like take you through the website and how it looks and what it's about. So this is our homepage for the website. Interesting thing about the picture why we chose is because this is a blackout in LA a couple of years ago. It blacked out and the sky was visible for the first time. People saw the sky for the first time, and they got scared and they called the police that aliens were invading them. This is not saying ignorant, but this is how less people in the city or people know about the night sky. And as my friend said before, most of the time we hear about, there's going to be a lunar eclipse today, there's going to be a Mars sighting in the sky today, but we always miss it. We come to know the day after or the hour after. So our homepage shows a live feed of the weather. That's one feature. On the left-hand side over here, we have Skyvents, which is planetary viewings, asteroids, meteor shower, ISS space station viewings if it's above you, all sorts of Skyvents, which we will talk about in detail. Another aspect, as we talked about, was simplicity. A lot of the existing websites we look are very technical, very hard to navigate around. You actually need to know a lot about astronomy or technical words to know and navigate. This is very simple. What's happening? The night sky. Now, when we click what's happening, we have narrowed it down to asteroids, comets, DSE is distant space events, ISS space station, meteor showers, moons, planets, and the weather. These are the live events which we will be broadcasting when people can get to know about these things. On the other hand, the night sky, if you click the night sky, you get to know about not live events but information about about these events. It's not just about knowing what's up there, but also knowing in depth what are auroras, what's climate change, what is light pollution, which we will get to again this later on in the talk, and stellar evolution. So I'm just going to hand over to my colleague who's going to talk more about this.
Before we actually started to design the website, we thought that we should find something that it is analog to in real life. So that's how we came up with the metaphor of observatory curator, and our design of the website is basically based on that. We have several reasons behind that. Mainly because an observatory curator is very passionate and very knowledgeable about his field. He can also address to various categories of people. So that's what we want for our website, to be accessible to all kinds of people. And you will be now taken through it to see that put in practice.
So I'm Callum. I did quite a lot of the back-end development for this project. So if we go to what's happening, if we go to Moons, we come to this web page. So this hasn't quite been decorated properly yet, but as you can see, the images, the text, the title and the date, they all come from a PHP document which provides live feeds from an RSS source for online, and also from a database which was built of events which can be predicted far into the future, which would then be further updated. So doing that back-end work allowed me to create an XML file, which was then sent to the front-end developers who dress it up very prettily. Very, very pretty. I actually quite well love the website. And if you go back to the home page, you'll see that we have on the right-hand side what this would look like if it was all nicely dressed up. So that's exactly the same feed going towards the front page, except this time we've decided which of the events separately, so the moons, the asteroids, the comets, all bunched together, decided which event is going to be next and which is going to be the most accessible to the user. And this is also based on location as well, so we used HTML5 geolocation to find out where exactly the computer is, and so what events are going to be most relevant to it, because obviously some night sky events can only be seen from certain parts of the world. And so the next one closest to York is tomorrow, and that's going to be Mars at perigee, so that's when it's going to be closest to Earth, and it should get a really nice view tomorrow. So,
Yeah, that was a quick preview on the live feed now. As I said, this is also to appeal towards kids, students in general. So, the night sky, we're just going to check about climate change, for example. This is a brief just for kids to know about climate change. So, if we click the Earth, we get to know what climate change is, what's the difference between climates and weather, and we have a video by the Met Office, which people who want to, a short video about the explanation of the climate change. Another one, go back to the home page. We are going to say, just because we're talking about the night sky, so we thought light pollution was an important factor. So, click the light bulb, switch off the lights, and we can see the sky. Why it's important, why light pollution, and we have two simulators which show us how effective light pollution affects the night sky, how bright it is. And it's based on a website called Needles, which is a non-profit organization, also in the same field of raising awareness on light pollution. So yeah, I'm just going to hand over to the next person.
Okay, so I'm Ben. I kind of headed the whole thing because I have the most experience in web development. So I'm just going to take you through sort of the technologies we use and stuff. So the whole site is based on HTML5 and CSS3, as you've probably guessed by all the fancy animations, which I may have overdone slightly. But yeah, the whole thing's built to comply with W3C standards, so it runs on the vast majority of websites, excluding stuff like Internet Explorer 6, but let's not go there. Then we can all agree on that one. The backend's all done in PHP with a MySQL database, so there's a couple of technologies going on there. The live feeds are refreshed every minute using, actually maybe not every hour, using Ajax. So some of the people had to learn how to use sort of data transfer languages like XML, and then also a bit of JavaScript to fetch the data and parse it and stuff like that. That's pretty much it on the technologies.
So what we plan to do next, if we get the funding and go ahead, we plan to include additional features to get live feeds from ISS, DSE, asteroids and planets and other additional features.
Any questions about the project or technologies?
People?
Just why, obviously what's called sky alerts, and I can see all the points with regards to all the planets and the asteroids. Why bring in the educational pages as well as a...
Well, we thought that it's all very well to know all of those Mars, or like, oh, it's a meteor, but it's nice for people to know why they occur and how they occur and just get sort of a bit of background info, because to most people you see a meteor shower and say, oh, pretty lights in the sky, and that's pretty much it, you know. So we thought it'd be nice to let people have a bit of background info on sort of the science behind it.
And we don't want people to call 911.
Yes. When you see stars. Any more questions from anyone? Okay.
Any from the audience? Yeah, any questions? No? Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.